It's almost 10 grand for a couple of days, but at least the sandwich was only $1.50 at lunch. Parents are saying no to kids getting high school jobs, which is actually smart. Plus, your fries now come with a login screen, and that's a problem. Hit subscribe, and I'll give you some food for thought. That was bad. I wouldn't hit subscribe on that either. If you get a chance, though, subscribe, like, comment, any of those things. Thank you for your support. I grew up in Augusta, Georgia, home of the Masters. If you haven't been paying attention over the last several days, you must have been under a rock, because we've been doing the Masters like we do every year at this time, and the weather was actually pretty good for the run. Very nice all in. I'm going to explain this to you real slow because I am from Augusta, Georgia. The Masters is the only place on earth where a $1.50 sandwich is surrounded by a $9,000 financial decision. Took me a minute. I committed. Notice I stayed with it. Totally committed. Rory McIlroy, big weekend, lot going on. People talk about the Masters, and the way they frame it as an advertising event is, yo, this is affordable. Technically, they're right. Let's talk about some of that. You may have seen this online circulating over the weekend, and I thought, since I'm from there, let's put these numbers to the test. Ticket, $140. Agreed. The best deal in any major sport. It's not even a debate. You can't even argue that. That's just fact. You don't just go to the Masters. You financially survive the Masters. And let's start with those tickets. Now, if you win the lottery, of course, to get them, you're some kind of unicorn. Congratulations. Let's put some lottery money out there, too. Now, you're walking in like a king, won the lottery, got you a $140 ticket and a couple of sandwiches. You the cat's meow, cock of the walk, if you will. Meanwhile, everybody else is out here at StubHub like it's a kidney exchange program, right? All right, listen. I got a Wednesday badge. What will you give me for it? I'm willing to give you a 2018 Honda Civic in partial custody of my... Whoa. Wednesday? Wednesday's where it really gets expensive. Wednesday, $3,000. That's for practice. That's not a competition. No, that's just watching a bunch of people stretch, work on their swing without a club in their hand, loosen their hips. $3 grand's what you spent for that. Awesome. Tournament days, now the money comes. 4, 6, 7, 10. It's like being anywhere else where they have an event and they're able to capitalize on it. I'm from Augusta. I grew up in South Carolina. I went through a racing phase. I don't know if you ever got into NASCAR, but I absolutely loved the sport for a while. I had them headsets, listened to all the cars, monitored everything. It was so much fun going to a race. It was a big thing back then. We didn't have to wear our shirts. Wasn't important. Not key. Not germane to the situation when you go to a NASCAR race. And frankly, I don't really like shirts. So it was kind of cool. Think about NASCAR, though. When you pull into Darlington, South Carolina, those folks that live around there, this ain't their first rodeo. They're stacking cars, within inches. You can barely climb out of the window, and they're charging you $20, $30. You're walking half a mile just to get to the racetrack. Some of them put big rings on their yards, and they say, toss your beer cans here, your empties, and we'll recycle them for you. Well, they're getting paid to do that. It's kind of smart. Everybody around there makes money on the race or any big-time event, and there's probably an event near you that, you do the same thing. But when you start talking about tournament days being $4, $7, $8, $10,000, there's fees they tack on there. Real fees, not like back in the day when we're all mad at them for tacking on $20, $30, $40. That's a fee. The $4,700 ticket for you to go enjoy the Masters, when you check out, it's about $7,200. And you can't even get mad about it. Because at this point, you're emotionally committed, right? You've told friends, I'm going to the Masters. I don't know what you're doing this weekend, but I'm going to the Masters. Now, for that week, much like any other city like Darlington and any other place, hotels all of a sudden have lost their mind. It's like Augusta becomes a different planet for 1 week. Motel 6, they're getting $450 to $500 a night. It's Motel 6. They usually charge you based on how many crimes have happened in that room in that week. But now, all of a sudden, because a bunch of wannabe golfers are coming to town, we can get $450 to $500 for a room at the Motel 6. They're all like, we got continental breakfast. You got Pop-Tarts. Calm down. Motel 6, my big old butt. Let me tell you what happened to me in Motel 6. So I did these weird trips back in the day, and what I did was I would take off out of my house. I would turn right, or in my case, I'm heading west, and then I just took off. I had no real plan. I had friends of mine, and they were kind enough to do it, but I'd just reach out and call them and say, all right, here's where I'm at. 6 hours from stopping, this is my location. I'd send them a pin or whatever, and then they would send me motel options, and they would call and make those reservations because you weren't doing it online then, which was kind of crazy to think about. Wasn't that long ago. I had to come back through Albuquerque. I didn't know anything about Albuquerque at the time because nobody had broke bad yet, and that's the way that went. So as I was coming through Albuquerque, I realized I needed to get a place to stay because I was wore out. So I had them book me a Motel 6. I was on the back side of the trip, and the next night I had a really expensive hotel at a casino booked. So I thought, listen, I just need about 3 hours of good shut-eye, and I could bounce. So I got the keys to the room, no big deal. It's probably 2 a.m. It cost me $56 in New Mexico. That didn't go a long way even in New Mexico, even a few years ago. So I go to the room, I take the key. When I walk in, I do the thing, and I open the door, and there is a naked man laying on the double bed, spread across it at an angle, buck naked. My answer was clearly the wrong room. Bruh, we'll have to back on out here, bruh. Good to see you. Close door, walk out, think to myself, I need to process this. I went back to the manager, and I was like, bruh, bruh. Like, there's a naked dude laid across the bed in there, bruh. He's like, oh, I gave you the wrong key. Yeah, you gave me the wrong key. What's wrong with you, son? So he gave me another key. So I got into, again, a $56 room in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I went in, luckily, no more naked men. Big win. However, in the bathroom, someone had shaved their complete beard, which has happened to me in a couple of Airbnbs too. I mean, just hair, beard hair, all in the tub. So I realized I needed to treat this like a camping experiment. Get my sleep on, get out. Don't touch anything because I could give a virus to my car, and my car doesn't deserve that. Now, if you happen to have a house in and around Augusta, all of a sudden, you a real estate mogul. Yeah, you gonna be rich. Overnight, things have changed for you. You're like, yeah, this 2-bedroom, 1 bath, we're asking $2,800 a night. Sure, we'd love to fit you in. It's Augusta. When I was a kid, we called it Disgusta. Now, I know they've done some incredible things in Augusta. I understand that. However, you could walk down the sidewalk, and the roaches were walking in and out of the cracks of the sidewalk, like faster than you. It was uncomfortable. It was not a place I wanted to be ever again. And I'm from there. And you talk about $2,800 a night. No. No. So you're like, okay, I know what I'll do. I'll just stay an hour away. We've all had that thought, right? No matter the event, we've all had the thought. We're like, I'll just take an hour away, then I'll drive in. Now you're waking up at 4:30 in the morning. You're driving through Hillbilly, Georgia, which, by the way, they don't name the city. They say by the county. Where are you from? I'm Leesburg County. Yeah, it's not a city. It's counties what they do. You're in Hillbilly, Georgia. You're behind a tractor now trying to get to a golf match, thinking to yourself, I probably should have just watched this in HD at home, right? And I know this is the way I think. Well, you know what I could do? I could just fly over to Atlanta. It'll be a little cheaper. I'll rent me a car. It's only a couple hours down the road. Plus, I get to see a large portion of Georgia. And I'll have a rental car. And I'll be the only one that's thought of this that's going to the Masters, that's going to entertain 30, 40,000 people a day. No one's thought of this. Yeah. So now I'm in a rental car, probably a Hyundai, because you know me, I always go for the class and spend the big bucks. Probably got myself a nice Sonata, up tempo and everything. Big radio. It's nice. I'm cruising down the interstate with the other 10,000 people who all spent too much money to turn around because just like me, they're emotionally committed. But the good news is, an hour and a half from now, when we get inside, the clock stops. It twists back to about 1995. Things are cheap. Too cheap. Suspiciously cheap. Sandwich shouldn't be $1.50. A beer can't be $6. What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Well, the inflation is on the outside of the Masters. It's clearly not on the inside, which kind of chokes you up a little bit if you think about it. It's nice. Then you go over to the merchandise tent. Now, I was over at the last merchandise tent I went to at races, NASCAR races. You were going to spend a fortune. I went to a golf event not too many years ago in Tulsa, and I went to the merchandise tent, and I thought, this stuff's pricey, pretty good, a little pricier than it should be, but it's a limited event, right? Same way they do the Masters. It's a merch tent where dreams go to die. You walk in saying, oh, I'm just going to get a hat, maybe a nice polo, so my friends at work are all like, oh, I'm jelly. You're left with 3 polos, a quarter zip, a garden gnome for your friend Larry, and then something for that cousin that you don't even like. You know what the average ticket price at the merch tent is during this weekend? It's $1,200. You bought a $140 ticket and you went, you know what? Went ahead and spent a little more at the gift shop than I meant to. $1,200. You ever black out financially? That's the merch tent. Bro, can't go in there. Again, you're emotionally committed. You got to do this. So, is the Masters the best value ticket in sports? Well, yes, absolutely. Oh, and it's also probably the most expensive trip to Georgia that you'll ever make in your life. But, like we know, like with a race, like with anything else that's destination-based, Super Bowl, World Series, any of that, well, I didn't go there to get a deal, did I? No, I went there to make a memory. In Augusta, you go for 1 week. And in that 1 week, Augusta goes from being a wonderful southern city to a polite financial ambush. Now, would you do it again? Of course you would. Because nothing hits like a $1.50 sandwich after a $10,000 mistake. I tell you what, my name is Bud like the beer, Ford like the truck. My girl said to me yesterday, she said, I counted every time on your podcast that you wore a Mississippi State shirt. I counted all of them. I was like, okay. She said, it was 15. I said, okay. I said, well, I'm going to find one that ain't like the rest of them. She said, you already wore that one. I can prove it. There you go. Brand new Mississippi State shirt. Welcome. My girl said, why you wear Mississippi State shirts so much? I said, because I graduated from Mississippi State. It's kind of important to me. And I said, as soon as I get this master's done over at Arkansas State, I wear stuff to support them too, because I think college is valuable. I think it's worth it. She's about to graduate from her college as well, and she's excited. Well, and then she'll start wearing the stuff, and I'll be like, why are you wearing all that merchandise? She'll get it then. Maybe that's not for you. It is for me. I think it's cool. All I wanted was fries, and they asked me to verify my email. I'm not going to the gym. I'm hungry. What's wrong with you people? Then I saw, you may have saw this too, In-N-Out said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing any of that. We're not doing online ordering. We don't care about your DoorDash, your Uber Eats. I don't care about none of that. Not any of it. It's not going to impact us because we're not doing it. That's what I'm talking about. That's America for you. I respect that. maybe the only American company that looks at it and says, you know what, technology, that's not what we do. That's not what we're good at. Let me tell you what we do over here at In-N-Out. We serve hamburgers. Because every other place now, you don't order food, you apply for it. Download the app, create a password, better confirm your email, pick your favorite location. I don't have a favorite location, I just got here. You better pick one. You got to have one. Can't move on till you have one. Oh, and if you forget your password, you're locked out of dinner. It's over. You don't get to eat. Sitting there, resetting your credentials. Happens to me at Black Angus every time I go in. They got a great special, but you got to be a member. Well, I got to play the I do exist when they say I don't exist game. But yet, if I put my phone number in to start another account, they're like, well, that phone number's occupied. But you said I didn't exist. So then what do you wind up? Not eating. All your friends are sitting there eating. You're locked out of dinner. Thanks, Black Angus. Meanwhile, In-N-Out said, you pull up, we say hello, you're going to wait a minute. We going to hand you a burger, and you can take yourself home. That's how it's going to be. That's it. No updates. No tracking your food, like it's an Amazon package. Your fries are 3 stops away. Why are my fries in traffic? It's not good for fries, I can tell you. I've known fries for a long time. Even the French will tell you. And they're the originator. It's in their name. It's not good in traffic. It's not okay. I don't know if you have In-N-Out where you live. You might be an East Coaster and you're like, I don't have no In-N-Out. Let me tell you what In-N-Out is. It's the Chick-fil-A of burger places. Now, if you don't have a Chick-fil-A or an In-N-Out, you need to move. Whatever dump you're living in sucks. Pack your stuff, get out. Because here's what happens at Chick-fil-A, here's what happens at In-N-Out. These are the kids you want working in your restaurant. The restaurant's clean, and I say it most, and I mean about 95% of the time, both of these. The people are polite, they're efficient, they're consistent. I never wind up leaving with Larry's order. My name's not Larry. I didn't come in here to get the jalapeno chicken sandwich. That's not what I ordered. You ever go to Chick-fil-A? They got like 40 people standing outside, holding iPads, chick, 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 like it's a military operation. These kids didn't come up to work today to sit and play on their phone. That's not what's happening. They done showed up here with precision. When they hire them, they probably make those kids, when they fill out that, they probably make them learn 7 more languages or something. They make them do stuff. It's like chicken sandwich ninja stuff that they don't tell anybody. It's a secret society of chicken cookers. You think I don't know, but I do. Notice how you're sitting out there, you pull up in the line, you're okay, and all of a sudden, one of them jogs right up. Yo, how you doing? Can I get a name for the order? Well, I'm like, hey, thanks. They're all like, my pleasure. What can I get started for you today, bud? That's how it goes, right? That's how it goes. Now, let's talk about that versus other places that are running DoorDash, Uber Eats, any of those. You walk in, chaos. 3 bags stacked up everywhere. Got an employee talking about, who's got Kevin? Who has Kevin? Can anybody find Kevin? Kevin ain't there, bro. Kevin ordered from his house. He's in basketball shorts, living his best life. Meanwhile, you hear screaming Kevin at the Panera Bread. Come on, man. Looking like a fool. Meanwhile, I'm watching my food, sitting in that window, getting cold in real time. I hope Kevin enjoys his basketball game. It's not fast food. That's delayed disappointment. Come on now. I do like Panda Express. Some people are like, why are you hating on Panda Express? I don't hate on Panda Express. Speaking of which, if you get a chance, like, subscribe. Did I mention all that? I think I mentioned all that. Let me get back to why I like Panda Express. I love Panda Express. But you ever hit Panda Express at lunchtime? Middle of the day? When the online orders are popping too? That line ain't moving. You were locked. You're all like, I can't even see. I can't even see the fried rice. But now I'm committed, right? Too far in, can't go nowhere. People behind me. I'm close enough to smell it, and it's not close enough to eat. And then somebody walks in, grabs a bag, and walks out. You're like, oh, hell no. When do we get VIP access up in here? We got TSA pre-check for orange chicken? No, I didn't think so. But you can't say any of that. You can't say any of that because you know they came in for DoorDash. It ain't right. In-N-Out said, no, we ain't doing that. You know why? Because the most important customer is the one standing in front of us. Let's get them some food. Let's get them fresh food. I like that system. At least it's fair. If the whole thing's about the experience, they want to make eye contact with you. They want to smile. I love that. Sometimes I walk into In-N-Out. Me and my girl will get her food, sit down. Somebody will walk up and say, hey, let me refill that for you. What were you drinking? I said, I was having a cherry Coke. So next thing you know, my girl getting her strawberry lemonade or whatever, come right back, here's your drinks. They don't do that anywhere else. No, it's worth every penny over there, and the price is cheap. Come on now. They give you the food hot. They don't mess up the order. You ever get delivery fries? It's not fries. It's a warm memory. Delivery fries. Well, you better keep all that. Now, here's the good part about In-N-Out. If you don't know this, they're expanding east. Yeah. Moving operations in the middle of hillbilly Tennessee. Still telling the East Coast, no, not yet. Florida, begging. Florida like, listen, we got alligators and humidity. Give us something. In-N-Out's like, nah, we ain't rushing this. That's discipline. That's a company saying, we're not going to mess this up just to grow faster. In-N-Out does that. I appreciate that. Because every other place, you expand so fast, you forget what made you good to start with. The one thing you'll find at In-N-Out is predictability. That's what I like about Chick-fil-A. I know it's going to be clean. I know the food's going to be good. Pretty sure the order's going to be right. And most importantly, nobody's handing my chicken sandwich to a dude named Travis on a scooter. That's something to be happy about. Because right now, everything else in life seems complicated. But In-N-Out said, you know what, we're just going to hand cut these taters over here, going to make you a good hamburger. I appreciate that. I don't know where you're at on the DoorDash, Uber, all of that. I kind of got tainted on the process in 2020 when all this, when it became a thing. When the pandemic began, I jumped on the train too. I ordered some food from P.F. Chang's. When it got to my house, it looked disheveled. Something was wrong. It was before they started taping the dishes down, and I realized the driver had been eating on it all the way. Yeah, so at that point, I was done with the whole, we'll just deliver it to you so we can feed him and you don't have to buy food. I got tired of feeding delivery drivers, so I got out of the game. But they may have fixed that in your neighborhood. Delivery where I come from was simple. You got Chinese or you got pizza. Anything else, you got to go pick up. I like that Uber Eats and DoorDash have given us this flexibility. I was looking at KFC to get a bucket of chicken, which I do probably once a year. I was going to order the bucket of chicken, and they had a special. It was $10.99, so I could pick it up. It was $11.22 plus. It'll come out to like $14. I'm like, you know what? I'll just go on and have them deliver that to me. It was $31 for the delivery plus the tip. Like, yeah, we ain't doing that. I'll just pay because I'm chintzy. That's what it is. I'm just downright cheap. Now, I was talking to my girl the other day about what a buddy of mine told me. And I'm telling you what, he absolutely flipped my entire childhood and the way I look at parenting upside down in one sentence. His 15, 16-year-old boy decided he's going to get him a job. You know how they get, just like we did at 15, 16. We're all like, I want to get a job. I'm going to be able to afford some things. I can get my own gas. I can start paying y'all for insurance, for all the excuses about why we had to get the job. My buddy said, yeah, we're not doing that. Thanks. Not later, but we'll see about it. Just, no. I come from back east, South Carolina, Georgia. We don't say no to you want to get a job. We say, finally, you can start paying for some of what you eat around here. Yeah. See, The world's interesting about Southern dudes. I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if it's done this way in other states, but when you hit about 15 or so, you are expected to work. That's not really a choice because you've been freeloading for a really long time. That's how we do things in the South. Now, the one thing that you probably don't know about what happens in the South is we'll work all the way till we get to the end of high school. And then what are we going to do? Well, we ain't going to hit a lick at a snake for about 3 months. We're not going to do anything. We're barely going to get up, probably aren't going to breathe if it don't come natural. Probably going to lower that down to just every once in a while breathe, and we're going to do nothing. On your couch, like your couch was anti-gravity. It wants to rise, we're pushing it down. You don't have to worry, we'll be holding it down. Next thing you know, we're just watching your TV. We take time off after big accomplishments, primarily a high school diploma. That's how it works in the South. May not be how it works in your neighborhood. And the world's changing there too, because a lot of friends of mine that have children are telling me they're in their 20s and they don't have any interest in driving. It's like pulling teeth to get them to get a driver's license. Because in a city where Uber and Lyft and all those are available, it's a financial option and it makes sense to a lot of them. Again, you're 15 in the South. Boy, you're employable. Let's get you into the rotation. I had a job so early in life, I thought recess was a break between shifts. I've been working for a minute. We weren't asked if we wanted to work. No, we were introduced to a manager. You go out to lunch with your pops like everything was all right. Into the lunch, the manager comes over. Let me introduce you to my boy, Bud. He can't wait to hand people chicken. Can you, son? Smile big for him. Yeah, man, it's not right. I called him Fish. I said, why you don't let your boy work, Fish? He said something that absolutely changed the way I'm thinking about all of this. He's a smart guy like that. He goes, you know, the moment you take that first job, you'll be working for the rest of your life. And I paused, except it didn't sound like that because he's from the West Coast. So it went more like, bruh, the moment you take that first job, you're going to be clocking in for the rest of your life, bruh. Yeah, think about that for a minute. That's not advice, that's a warning. That's impressive. That's smart. That's well thought out. He went on to say, it'll take your time. It'll sit in your head. It'll mess with your sleep. He said, work is a lifelong subscription that you never cancel. And I was sitting there thinking, that's true. Because once you start working, you don't stop. You never stop. Even when you're off, you're not off. Just somewhere thinking about work in a different chair. You ever been at dinner? Brain goes, I got to do that email first thing in the morning. So his whole philosophy is, my kid's job is school. That's it. Learn, think, grow. No clock, no boss, no name tag. He was adamant about it too. Then he said something else that absolutely has been messing with me since. He said, I don't want him trading time for money yet. It's just well thought out. It's hard to stop a kid in the South. I mean, we're raging bulls. We're told at 12, 13, 14, probably about 7, we're going to start mowing some lawns. At about 10, we're going to be raking. At 11, 12, we'll be washing people's cars. And by the time we're 14, 15, the minute they'll let us, we're going to go find a job we can ride to in a bicycle. We're charging out of that gate. But if you have that conversation with your children and you explained it to them the way he explained it to me, it's a different mindset. Because on the East Coast, we teach kids, you want money, you go somewhere for 6 hours and you earn it. On the West Coast, they teach kids, you want money, you figure something out. It's the same goal. It's just a different way of looking at it. It's a different way of putting the puzzle together. East Coast kids got grease burns and a supervisor named Rick. West Coast kids got Shopify stores, YouTube channels, and somehow a brand deal before they can drive. That's different. That's a different way of looking at life, and it's a different way of doing it. I knew a kid growing up. He worked at McDonald's. He smelled like French fries from the time he was 15 till we were 19 years old. He didn't even get fries anymore. It just smelled like regret. Now, meanwhile, in California, there's a kid that just made $3,000 reviewing headphones last month. So now I'm sitting here thinking about my life, thinking, did we do it wrong? Or did we just do it early? Because there's something about working young, right? You get responsibility, you get to learn how politics works, interacting with other people, all of those things. You learn all that. You learn that money ain't easy. It's not easy to come by. You also learn your manager's not your friend. You're going to learn that at one of them jobs. But you're also going to learn how to be tired real early. Maybe too early. Maybe his whole point, and I got to go with this, why are we rushing it? I did it. You probably did it. You're going to have to work forever anyway. Why start him at 15? It's the part that makes it a tough putt in my mind because I see his point. I also understand my point. Work builds character. Time builds creativity. Probably need both, right? So I'll say this. If I could go back and talk to 15-year-old me, knowing what I know now, let me tell you what, I wouldn't have been sweeping floors at the Revco. That wouldn't be happening. I wouldn't have been doing the usual from 3 to 6 each day where I rode my bicycle up there and mopped and swept the store and changed out ballasts and lights. I wouldn't have done all that. I wouldn't have then transferred to the Chinese restaurant so I could make more money in the summer. I would have figured out how to get by without the money. Gas was cheap then. Also wouldn't have had to smell like Chinese food as much, or French fries if you worked at McDonald's. Because this is a fact. Whatever you hear or whatever you've heard in the last 5 minutes, hear this. Once you clock in for the first time, you don't clock out. You just change jobs. And it's depressing if you think about it that way. Let the kids be the kids, right? That's what I'm talking about. My name's Bud Ford. Thanks again for spending time with me today. It's Bud like the beer, Ford like the truck. I'm at Bud Ford Comedy. If you get a chance, please hit like, subscribe, share, comment. Any of those, I would appreciate it.